All right, everybody. Welcome back to Game and Compute. Just a quick update for the new year 2021. I don't know the exact details on the matter, but just quickly, I wanted to say that regarding the stimulus check, it looks like it has been like the beginning of the check being issued has begun. It looks like there's a $600 check that I know of so far. That I can confirm that one family member in Missouri has received. And this check, let me see, today's Saturday, January 2nd, 2020. And he received the check the day that the mail last went out. Not today, because the mail did go out today, but I believe it would have been Thursday the 30th or Friday the 31st of December 2020. It was a $600 check. So just confirming that, that check is now being issued. At the very least, that one's coming out. So, now's the time to start planning. If you don't have plans for the fund, first of all, you can check and see if you're eligible and expected to receive it. And then if you are eligible, it would be a good time to start planning. If you're not eligible and it's possible to become eligible, you might want to find out how you can become eligible if you want that check. It might not be too late to meet the eligibility criteria, if that's how it works. But yeah, I would say, guys, yeah, it's coming. So $600 is coming. Some people do say it's nothing, it's not a lot of money, we need more. I know that's true. I mean, we all need more money, but I mean, at this point, this money's free. On our end, anyways, at the moment, nothing's really free. I know that. So it's good to be cautious of where this is coming from and why. It seems like we're suddenly getting some free money, but nonetheless, it has arrived. So, we can count it as a blessing too. It's not a complete negative thing at this very moment. So that's one thing to try and note. But yeah, guys. So it has arrived. It has been confirmed that at least $600 is possible to get in the mail. So look out for your checks. If you don't receive it, if there's an error or something along those lines, make sure you're looking out for it if you're eligible. Because I remember last time, a lot of people who were eligible actually did not come forth and receive, or try to find their check. So a lot of people missed out on it because there was a period when they had, to kind of get things, get the appropriate people notified to get their check. And then, a lot of people, I mean, it was a new thing. People don't really know how to go about this because it's not like okay, like tax season comes every year in April and we know the 15th and there's a due date and we kind of know what to do, right? Like, it's not like that where there's like every year we're getting a check. I mean, so far that's what it's been. It looks like some people got 2 checks in 2020, but it looks like the majority of the checks are going to be spread out mostly in 2021. So if you're going to be expecting that check, look out for it. And if I find any other news, there was some information about a $2,000, but I don't know the details of that. So I'm going to look into that as well and see if it's significant information to kind of post, especially if I have any updates from any personal contacts that I know. I'd like to, just talk about that if it's important. But yeah, guys, it's a new year. If you're interested in personal finance, a lot of people use the beginning of the year to start things anew, start fresh, turn over a new leaf. It's not necessarily any magical extra day, you know. I mean, we've had all the same time, but I mean, there's something about just a time period where it's like in society everything's kind of hitting a reset button. There's not really anything specific about January 1st, January 2nd, the beginning of the year. It feels just like December almost, but you know, anything that gets you motivated, I'd say don't knock it. If it's something that you find beneficial and helpful and makes you happy, then if you want to celebrate, I mean, that's your own individual decision, and I don't think anyone should try to hold you down for it, you know. So, yeah. Good luck, guys. Hopefully everyone gets your checks, and hopefully, you know, don't spend it all on Uber Eats if it's not necessary, you know? That's like, I almost had to do the math, guys. Because that's becoming one of my, it's kind of like a what do you call it, like a double-edged sword, a blessing and a curse, or whatever you want to call it. It's like, I love it because I can be lazy. I don't have to, like, get up. I don't have to spend gas. I don't have to interact. But, oh, man, it hits the wallet. It hits that bank. Man, I mean, I'll be honest, you know, I've spent $25 on, like, you know, Carl's Jr. delivery or something like that, you know, that's like down the street from me too, that I could have just gotten up and gotten the stuff, and it would have been faster for me to go get it probably too, if it's only like 2 miles away. Probably would have been faster for me to just get it, and a lot cheaper. So it's kind of like faster and cheaper, but you know, it's just, I don't want to get dressed, I don't want to get up. It's like, man, I'm learning, guys, like, put on a freaking beanie, put on a hoodie, pull up your face mask, put on a beanie or a baseball cap, and, you know, get out of the house and go get it yourself. You know, you don't have to be your beautiful, most perfect self. You know, sometimes, you know, it's like, man, I don't want to go out looking all disheveled, but at the same time, it's like, geez, you know, and it can get pretty bad for some of us, I know, like, you know, with my hair type, it's kind of funny because, like, if I'm, like, laying around and lounging around and haven't really, like, combed my hair, or between after even combing my hair, and then if I, like, lounge around a bit, I'm gonna have to comb it again, and it's kind of a bit of a lengthy process. So things like that, you know, it's like, oh my goodness. But yeah, you gotta think about it sometimes, like, do the math, take it easy, breathe when you're making decisions, try not to get too hungry. Always have extra snacks so that if you're, like, really that hungry and it's like, dang, I'm really that hungry, let me just, you know, eat this while I'm cleaning up a little bit, and then eat a snack while I'm cleaning up, and then go pick up some food. Order it first, go pick it up if that's what you have to do. Usually by the time you get dressed and ready and everything anyways. I mean, honestly, most places that you're going to be driving are going to be closer than, you know, I mean, if you're like me, they're going to be closer than Uber Eats. I mean faster than Uber Eats would get it for you, and they're usually probably close by places. I understand more if it's like you're on a time crunch, you're working, you really don't have the time between things. Like, I've done that before when it's like, maybe I'm going out, no, this is like back in the day now, like almost a year ago, but like, yeah, I'm going out to a movie, and I'm gonna go into the movie theater and I want to, like, hang out, you know, and, like, watch a movie in the theater, and, like, after work maybe, and the movie's at, like, 7:30, and I get off at 5, and, like, I come home, and, like, you know, I'm like, I don't want to cook, you know, so, like, maybe I'd order on the way home, and then by the time I get home and cleaned up, I can just eat real quick and leave. Like, that kind of makes sense, but, like, once in a while, and maybe, you know, set aside a budget for that. It shouldn't be, like, you know, 2-3 times a day. But I know right now people are trying to limit contact too, so that's one method that helps. Instacart does help. Different delivery services, they definitely help, guys, so I understand this, but, you know, be careful with it, because, you know, $100 is like 4 deliveries almost. If you count Instacart deliveries, that's probably almost 2 deliveries. Oh, sorry. I mean, you can get like an $80 delivery easily. I mean, usually it kind of makes more sense to buy more stuff if you're getting one delivery, because it's like, why are you going to order like a gallon of water and like 2, sandwiches or something, and then it's like, that's like $50. I mean, like, that doesn't make any sense. You could probably get that for like $20 or less even. So stuff like that, So I would say, sometimes when you're ordering, just do the math, and it's like, if it makes more sense to order more and you have the money for it, it's kind of like, just order more food, because you're already paying the delivery fees, you're already paying the taxes on that, you're already paying the service fees on top of that. I mean, if a meal costs $15, and that's a jacked up price already, so usually in the restaurant it's going to be what, like $12.99 or so. On the app, it's going to be like $15 plus like a $1.99 or so service fee, plus a $2.99 or $3.99 delivery fee, and then they tax you on all of that. So it's like $15 plus $4 plus what, $3, and then they tax you on that, and then you're expected the tip, which is going to be like another, like, if you're, tip a good tip, 20%, just like an average tip, it's not too high, not too low. It's kind of that good number. But man, that's another $5. It's like, I took a meal that could have been $12.99 and I slapped on a $3, $5, $4, it's like, and the tax too. So it's like, yeah, man, that's a little bit much. I may have said that incorrectly, because I think the $5 would have been the tax, so the tip would have been like $10. Like, oh man, that's too much money, guys. Can you imagine that? And yeah, sometimes when you're hungry, that's what needs to happen. Sometimes your body's like, yeah, I need to eat. But think about what's eating your wallet, Like, your wallet's going to be hungry if you spend all your money on food. Like that, like, food is definitely important. Nourishment is definitely important. I've used Uber Eats to avoid making unhealthy decisions. It's kind of like, sometimes, your financial health and your physical health, and it's like, okay, like, I can either make a couple microwavable hot dogs or order like some vegan food and pay more money. And, it's kind of like, sometimes it's a decision like that, where it's like, yeah, order something better for my health and pay more money, or, and try to like, find out where these decisions come from. If it's energy, if it's laziness, try to problem solve where it's coming from, and nip that in the bud, just kind of try to figure out where the issue comes up. Like, for me, it's like a laziness thing, like I was saying. It can be like an impulsivity thing. Sometimes when I'm just like too hyper and I'm just like running around and not really like focusing on like my meal times and things, and I'm all like excited and I'm not really like thinking. I'm just kind of like, oh, like, I'm hungry, let me like order something, and I'm not thinking about, hey, I had a food budget this week, and that means today I had a food budget, and is this going to be over what's going to carry over my food budget? How am I going to adjust the rest of the week according to this or whatever? Sometimes I'm not even thinking about that, and I'll make maybe one decision like that leads to 2 decisions or 3 decisions, and now I'm not even paying attention, and then it's like, now I'm like way over the budget on the food, and then I'm not even looking at it, because sometimes it's like stressful. It's like, dude, I don't even want to check my bank because it's so freaking stressful to check it. So that's kind of what I would say. Make a plan first. Try to stick to that plan. If you've had trouble sticking to plans, I understand. I've had trouble too. But if you've had trouble sticking to your plans, try to figure out sometimes people get more pleasure out of not having to worry or think too hard, and be able to make quick, impulsive, fun decisions, and just living in the moment. Sometimes people find so much joy in that. And that can be, joy that's competing with the sense of feeling free or feeling happy, or, but then there can also be that stress that comes up where you're like, okay, maybe I feel free, maybe I feel happy, maybe I'm feeling the joy, but I don't have any money because I overspent. So it's like, and I'm not laughing to like make fun. I'm kind of like laughing because I'm like, dude, just saying it out loud sounds weird because it's like I do it too. So, yeah, sometimes when I'm talking on here, I'm talking to myself too a little bit. So, just reminders, like we can all do it. You see people who do it. Graham Stephan does it. There's some other people who are very frugal and they're millionaires, and it's not because they don't have the money to spend. They could still spend the money and they'd still be millionaires. But they do make small decisions where they think about, hey, I'd rather spend that extra $30 and use it on my Robinhood account, because that's more fun for me, like using the money in a way that's like a learning experience and like a more beneficial experience, and finding ways to think about money like that. I find that very helpful, to think about money as, what is it that you could do with the extra money that you save? Part of it as a learning experience, part of it is like growing your finances, part of it is, stabilizing your future. But it's the little things sometimes. And so sometimes I really do think it's helpful to think about what you can do, what you would do. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I'm going to retire eventually. For me, that's not anytime near, like I just barely started my career. I'd be, unless my career goes away or something really drastic with the economy, again, happens even further, I, don't know if I'll, not be working for like another 40 years or so. That doesn't sound right. I can't do math, sorry. What I meant to say is maybe like 20-ish years, probably around 20-ish years. I'd be like almost 60, near 60-ish. I haven't really thought about when I'm going to retire, and those kind of questions and things like that too, kind of come into account, come into play. Some other important questions to ask are, what is your, when you have a relationship with your money, what's that looking like? Because sometimes we have unhealthy relationships with all sorts of things. So we can have unhealthy relationships with our physical health, with our mental health, with our financial health, with our spiritual health. Just different aspects that kind of keep us going and keep us motivated and healthy. Those can get out of whack pretty quick. And if we don't really have a method to remedy that, like we just can easily, it's easier to dig a hole based on an emotional issue. That's going to be easier. It's going to be easier to kind of dig yourself into a hole in a place that's hard to get out of when you're making decisions based on emotional struggles. So if you're not having a lot of excitement, and spending on random kinds of stuff makes you excited, then when you get money, you're going to be more likely to spend it and get excitement from that. But in the long term, you might ultimately really value and care for and want to have a stable, financial life. But you might have decisions that keep coming up that are made so impulsively or so quickly, that have nothing to do with finances either. So sometimes it can help to kind of curb some of that, at least into, a financial related interest. So not interest as in like building interest, but that's always nice on your end. But I would say like interest, like cognitively, like an interest in your mind. And the reason why I say that is because, you can have a financial project, for example. Say you're taking $20 or $60, or say you have a number every day even. You can play a game with it and say, okay, my food budget's something that's hard for me to work on with all this Uber Eats delivery. And saying to yourself, okay, this is hard to work on with all this, stress of everything going on and the fun of, the food I get. The funny thing is, in a way, you can still get the same food, right? A lot of times the food you get delivered isn't limited access to you unless you don't have a car or something like that. But say you do have a car, it's not gonna be really limited access to you to go to get it, um, to save that money. So say if you tell yourself, say for example, you have a food budget of, let's make it generous. Let's make it like a food budget that you really don't have to think about way too much. Considering that if you even cook at home and stuff, $30 a day. That is plenty of money for most people if you're not eating out food. And even if you are eating out food, say if you eat lunch every day, you buy lunch, it's likely not going to cost you $30. Even if you go to a sit down restaurant, that's not going to be a $30 meal. Um, Most places. I mean, you can easily spend over $30, but I mean, most weekdays, lunchtime, lunch breaks, you can get a Subway sandwich, you can get Chipotle. That's still not going to add up to $30 for one person if you're buying one meal, that is. You can go to Denny's. I mean, this isn't even healthy food necessarily, all of it. You can go to Sprouts and get a meal. There's a lot of like takeout options you can get that are under $30. And say if you ate oats in the morning for breakfast that you already had at home, that's something that's simple to make. You can make overnight oats in the morning, or sorry, in the evening. Just put some oats in some almond milk or whatever milk of your choice. Add some fruit and yogurt on top of that, and just put it in a Tupperware in the fridge. And in the morning, you just have this already soaked oats that's soaked in the milk. It's already ready to go. And you can just grab it and go. Yeah, it's cold, but it's relatively more healthy than eating almost any fast food type of thing. And it's going to be nourishing. It's going to be filling. You can just literally grab it and go. And you can get a container of oats that'll last you at least 5 weekdays. I mean, unless you really eat that much, all at once. That's a good amount of calories. And if you have something with it, like a juice or a tea or something like that, or even like, you can boil some eggs and just take a couple eggs with you that are already boiled. And, you can always do this stuff the night before. You can do this right when you get home from work, when you're putting your stuff down. You can basically make all this in like within a 5-minute period of time just to have the breakfast. And then you'd still have $30 to spend for lunch and dinner. That's 15 per meal per one person. That's still plenty for a budget, honestly. I mean, and that's considering if you cook at home, you're likely not spending $30 worth a day on groceries, because $30 of groceries can usually buy you a lot of stuff that you're going to carry into more meals. You can buy rice, you can buy lentils, you can buy beans, you can buy, like fruits and vegetables and things like that, like mix and match things. And if you have $30 every day to shop and get a little bit of what you wanted, that's going to stretch pretty far, honestly, with groceries. But even if you do eat out here and there, $30 a day is still going to be a lot. And if you think about 7 days, that's $210 just on food alone a week. That's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money, honestly. $210. So if you think about $210 as your weekly budget for food for 7 days, and that's counting if you're even eating out food. And that's probably not counting deliveries though, because if you had $30 a day, that's almost one delivery. So less $30 wouldn't really cut it. Yeah, so if you're doing deliveries, your $30 budget, you're gonna have to kind of, push some money from one side to the other. But I'd recommend almost trying it, see how you like it, see what you think and feel about this. Maybe even, if your house is secure enough to do this, getting 7 envelopes. I think Dave Ramsey or someone mentioned this, having envelopes for every meal, or not for every meal, having envelopes for every like category of what you're going to pay for. And just putting cash in every envelope so that you're not using cards, you're not using credit, and you can like see that physical dollar amount. Now that money's not gaining interest sitting in envelopes in your house, but and it's not secure for everybody. But I'd just say as like even like a like a project to do for even a week and see how you like it. 7 days, like a 7-day challenge to yourself. $210 for food alone. We're only talking food here. If you had a $30 budget a day, and then you can use that $210. Like, I'm not saying, like, be reckless or anything, but you can even play with that money a bit and say, okay, $210, maybe I want to take the $30 a day, and every day that I don't spend all $30, I'm going to save $5 of it, and whatever is remaining, I'm going to take that remaining fund and I'm going to put it on my Robinhood account and use it towards like some investments, and figuring out, like, if you don't know a lot about investments, that's a good learning experience to take some of that money. It's a portion of $30 a day, right? For a week. And not everybody, I mean, I'm not saying play with your money. If you don't want to, don't do it. If you have better things to do, if you have to feed yourself, you have to feed your kids, you have, like, a lot of people have different situations. I don't have babies, I don't have children, I don't have a spouse. There's a lot that I don't really have. And so, when it comes to comfort in my own decisions, I feel like I don't really have to think too far, right? About other people and other stuff. So that's just something I wanted to mention. But yeah, guys, I'm really gonna recommend for you, if you don't know what to do with the funds, really try to make a project out of it if you need to, and try to always think about bettering ourselves, like thinking about areas that aren't working out, using the money to kind of work on those areas. And what works for me really is creating like a project, a short-term project that I can kind of play with an idea of something that I'm already struggling with, and try to work with it, work towards it, work through it. Something like a $210 for 1 week project, and see, maybe it's possible that you can invest, that you can have that money. It's possible that you honestly can have that money, and I mean, if you're tracking it, you can actually find out how much you actually made instead, right? So you can think about $210, which how your food budget would have normally looked for a 7-day period. $30, if it's usually over $210 in a week, then you could do this project and see $210 in a week. Is it possible for you to even work with that $210 and spin it into something through Robinhood, or like maybe like some small like drop shipping, or something like that, where you're kind of turning the money around that you save and using it into something to build another stream of income, or at least grow with that money. Yeah, some of that $210 is going to have to be spent because you're going to have to eat, but what percentage of it needs to be spent, and then how do you feel based on, you already saved. If you're only spending $210 a week, you're already going to be winning there and saving if you don't spend that much usually. Like, if $210 a week is less than what you already spend for one person, and then you spend that money into more than $210 a week of money left at the end, like, it's possible to grow that money. It's possible to use some of it and then grow the savings of it into something else. It's possible, guys. It's very possible to do this. But the thing is, what we usually do is we're like, oh, look, Uber Eats, oh, look, this, thing, oh, look, I want this thing on Amazon Prime, or this movie, or this app, or like whatever it may be, and we just buy, press that button real quick. Cell phones have made it real easy for us to just like not even, I don't know if there's even an app out there that just like shows you your balance every time you're going to buy something. And it's like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to spend this? Because your food budget is here. And if you spend this, you're over it for today. Like, sometimes that would probably help. to have something like that. But so if it exists, that would be really cool, guys. But if it doesn't exist, that's an idea for somebody who could make it exist. But I really feel like, it's possible to take this money and do great things. It doesn't have to be like, oh, $600, it feels like nothing. It seems like it's not a lot of money. Let me go blow it on something that, it's not going to have any resale value. I'm going to go blow $600 on something that, is going to bring me all instant pleasure and no long-term, reward. Just thinking of it like that, I mean, and really putting the mind to it. I mean, $600, I know it's not like the world's most amount of money, really, You can get a new set of tires, like with the warranty and good tires too. You can get a new pair of glasses with great lenses, or you can get a laptop. I mean, there's stuff you can buy where you could easily blow all of it, and it might be a necessity, and that makes sense. But, even if it's not a necessity, or if you can find a cheaper version that's not poor quality of the things that you actually need, and then use that money to do something that's actually going to be kind of like helping your finances. Like if you need new tires, you can get new tires without the full warranty, or, without the extra double package and like the extra, I want this size, tire and this size rims and all this, like making it so it's like way more expensive than it needs to be. You can go to more discounted places. You can go to a mom and pop shop that, some places have really good used tires. I mean, I don't know. It's up to you, your own, making your own decisions, but just, I like to put food for thought out there, because it's kind of, I know how hard it is, guys. I'm at home too, I'm stuck and bored sometimes, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm just lucky I live in a place where the weather is usually quite decent in Southern California, where at least I can go outside and it's not snowing. I don't know how people manage with the snow and the weather and the cold and the, it's kind of like, not pleasant. So, I don't know, guys. I guess we'll just have to see, what happens, but I'm here to listen.